Yo,
What's cracking, bro?
chop it overnight, you hear me? How you holding up, bro?
Like I said, sad, angry, and confused. You hear me? I had just lost my homie 6G's, you know, through I think stage two. Cancer or some shit. They said he had cancer.
Right.
So you know,
Sorry to hear that, bro.
so they been like, that's the see what he was going through and all that stuff, and I didn't really know nothing about it. Mother told me that he had stage 5 cancer. You know what I'm saying? And he
Mm-hmm.
was on hospice. You hear me? So it's like I know it's kind of rough for his mom, Miss Moon, because
Yeah.
Miss Moon, man, motherfucker got to give her flowers. You hear me? Because she did a fantastic job with 6G's, bro. You hear me?
Yeah.
You know, it been plenty times, goddamn it, we'll go up to I go see him and shit, and I go kick it with him in the crib, because he stayed down the porch from me, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
I stayed in 301, he stayed in 308, so I go down there every day, I'm checking up on him, you know. Most of the times I don't pick them up and roll them with me and to my kid mom's cribs and shit like that, and we chopped it up, you know. But at the end of the day, it's just like not just trying to, put your finger around it, basically like, damn, how this happened, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But I know he was fighting his battles as far as like in the wheelchair and shit like that, because
So
his
he was
mom's
just
was taking care of him.
he was just in a
Yeah,
wheelchair when he was out? Or he
yeah, he was in a
been had
wheelchair
okay, so he was
when
never
I was.
sick.
Said it again.
I said so basically he was never sick before you left.
Yeah, he was still sick, but not like the way it was, the way how it was when I left. Like he
Okay.
wasn't sick like that. He was just
Okay.
paralyzed. You hear me?
Okay, I
You know
get you.
what I'm
I
saying?
get you.
But his mom's, man, motherfucker gotta, man, give her flowers to her, man,
Do you know how you
because,
get paralyzed?
huh?
I said, did you know how you get paralyzed?
No, not at this moment. As far as like how he got paralyzed, that was a whole different
So that
conversation.
so
No,
that
I don't
happened
really
that
know.
happened before your
You know,
time or
yeah, that happened before. No, I was out the time he got paralyzed, but I just can't get all up into that
okay.
because
I
that
get
ain't
you.
really
I get you.
got nothing to do with whatever what we talking about right now. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's just like losing him is just like losing a brother. You hear me? You know,
Uh-huh.
I ain't no dude like 6G's. You hear me?
Yeah.
It's like just to see the seed gone and all that shit. And I was hearing like his mom didn't really want a motherfucker to come to see him at the hospital or whatever the case might be. But I just wanted to let all them niggas know, and whoever trying to come to see him, basically like, man, y'all was just a little bit too late. You understand what I'm saying? You
Right.
know, motherfucker could have just, you know, you know, we just need to grow up from where we growing up from. All this old shit, all this disconnected. You know what I'm saying? Only
Uh-huh.
time a motherfucker really want to see a nigga is a motherfucker in a bed, dead, bro, or in jail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's tough how family and friends is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They only come to really see us when we in the fucking cast. We see at them at the fucking party, shaking their ass, shaking their head. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's just like, where the love at? You hear me? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because we need to give each other our flowers right now. You know what I'm saying? Not
Right.
later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when a motherfucker gone, we can't even see that shit. You know what I'm saying?
For sure,
You know?
bro.
Like I'm hearing, like man was riding around. He was riding around in the car and all that shit. Hustling, block the block, and I heard me goddamn it, call the case. That's
Damn.
6G. Come on, man. I don't want to. I didn't even stick my head to wrap my hand around all that shit like that. Because when I was out, I gave my homies my flowers when I was out. You hear me? You
Yeah.
know, I was always showing up at people's cribs I fuck with. You know what I'm saying? And people's I didn't fuck with, I'm still supporting them. right or wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's to see my homies in the casket. Man, that shit hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
And I
crazy.
never thought this like. I know, we can't live forever. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And when it's our time, it's our time. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But man, we just gotta weigh how we show that love. You hear me? You
Yeah.
know, and we gotta really do a little better than what we doing out there in that world, trying to show up. You know, 'cause I look at it
For
like,
sure.
okay, if you throwing a balloon release, right,
Uh-huh.
and you out there trying to go to a motherfucking area and throw a lot of balloons out there. You hear me? So
Yeah.
you got to look at it. Look at this, right? It's 1,000,000 people outside from to throw balloons up. Why could have been 1,000,000 motherfuckers when he was sick in the crib? Go to that crib where his mom's Miss Moon at and go see him two at a time. 1,000,000 motherfuckers in front of that crib. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? That's how you show up.
Basically
That's how
could have
you
brought the
show up and
party
show
to
your
him,
fucking
basically.
love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you show up when a motherfucker really dead. Basically like, okay, let's go throw all these balloons up everywhere. No. We should do that ahead of time, bro. You hear me?
So
When we knowing the person who's,
how was you and his relationship though, like far as?
man, we had a beautiful relationship, bro. That was my man. You hear me? When I say that was my man,
Yeah.
that was my man, bro. You
You
know,
ain't, you
and
ain't
that
got
was my
no
brother,
you ain't
bro.
got no moment you want to share with as far as like, you hear me?
Huh?
I said you can't share no little moment that you and him had, memory.
Yeah, probably like a little mirror. Like one time, we was in the crib smoking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's like, man, KT, man. One day, man, you might have to change my motherfucking pamper. I said, man, I'm gonna figure that shit out when I get there. You hear me?
Yeah.
But for right now, if I have to do it, I'm gonna do it. But I'm gonna have to have one of my girls right there. You know, I'm fucking with like I'm gonna have one of my girls right there to goddamn it, help me out too. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Right.
I can't do this shit by myself. You know what I'm saying? You
Real
know.
thing.
So that's it. And you like, man, then that's the little conversations we have, and we chopping it up to get a
Yeah.
really better understanding. Basically, like, if I had to change my buddy pamper, nigga, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put on my motherfucking gloves and my mask, and I'm gonna do it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure, bro.
But this the shit. He was just joking with me, but his mom used to do that, bro. His mom treated like, she took care of CG's like he was a fucking newborn baby, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And she didn't really have to do it. She did it because that was her baby, and that was her son. You understand what I'm saying?
For sure.
And she took care of that motherfucking business, bro. That's something special, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know it fucked her up, cause this her motherfucking baby. She been around and she raised and all that shit, bro. So to see him fighting his battle when he was paralyzed, then she taking Cam all the way through the flick, and then 6G's probably hacking up out there when the projects left, cause 6G's wasn't doing it. Little things like that, like acting up out there in the streets, riding around, being a little disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? He
Right.
probably wasn't like that, and that was something new for her to ingest to him. You hear me?
Uh-huh.
Because he trying to get out there and hustle. He trying to get out there and do this and do that. But bro, that's my motherfucking dude, though. Nowhere in the hell he's supposed to been out there doing all that shit like that, bro.
For sure.
And even though I know everybody got their own life and their personal lives to live out there, but when it come down to 6G, we was there to support him, bro. You hear me?
For sure.
Any motherfucker out there know him. They know this conversation is real. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We just show. You showed up a little bit too late to show up at the fucking hospital when he on hostage, and you trying to come in the fucking hospital, and you ain't never been around. You ain't been around in a while. You hear me?
Yeah.
Come on, man. You hear me? Yeah, turn your ass around, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Turn your ass around, girl. You hear me? What the fuck is you doing here right now? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What you was when he was sick? You know what I'm saying? You know? So I understand Miss Moon when she did that. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
You know, because that was only right. And the motherfucker ain't still probably hit her with nothing. You hear me? You know? You know? Motherfuckers showing up for funerals and all this and throwing balloons. Man, you should have took all the motherfucking balloons when homie was sick. You know? And released the motherfuckers when he can see it. Because he can't see it now. You know what I'm saying? But now, homie, he walking now. He doing real good now. You know, he at home now in heaven. You hear me? He doing real good. You know, and when you get down there, homie, look, tell my mama I send much love to her, man. You hear me? Till I said, love her. I ain't gonna never stop loving her. She always gonna be in my heart till the day I go down there. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's just like, man, we don't see that love. You know, it's just like a lot of motherfuckers went to my mom's funeral. You know? No, I ain't seen none of them. I ain't heard from none of them. Half of them, you know?
Right.
But at the end of the day, you show up out of love and respect. But when my moms was sick, I didn't see all of them. I didn't hear nothing about all of them was there. Checked on them or nothing. Checked on her, none of that shit. But when that funeral happened, everybody there. I'm seeing faces I ain't seen in years. You hear me? You know? So I'm just trying to picture it when I die. You hear me?
Yeah.
When I leave this earth, who don't show up? You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
You know, because it's a struggle, bro. You know what I'm saying?